Hello everybody, welcome back to this Dev Q&A Part 2, Xbox and PC improvements. Hope everyone's doing well, nice to see you. This is actually our third Q&A this month. We had the SDK one, we had Part 1, which was World Updates, and we're back for Round 3. Chat, how are you? And I'd love to introduce everyone first before we get started. Of course, my name is Jane. I am the community manager here for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And below me, we have Jorg.
Hi, everyone.
And we have Seb.
Hello.
And Martial.
Hello, everybody. Very nice to be here tonight.
It's good to have all three of you. And we have some awesome questions today that we're going to be asking. But first, for you, chat, I'll go over kind of the agenda so you know what to expect. First, we're gonna have Seb show off some of the improvements coming to the PC version, as well as talk about the Xbox version, and we'll go over the feedback snapshot after that, some of the bugs and issues, and also wish list items. Excuse me, and then we'll get to the Q&A section where we have pre-selected a ton of questions from the forums, but at this time we're also going to take your live questions from chat. So if you have some questions, we ask that you save it for the last 30 minutes of the stream. The stream's going to be about 60 minutes long, we think. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First, Jorg, I know you wanted to say something before Seb talks about performance.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say hi, everyone. I'm super happy that Seb is going to give this presentation about performance today, because I remember when everybody says, "Oh my God, they're going to Xbox and they're going to dumb down, or they're going to reduce performance, or whatever." And I think what you're going to see is the exact opposite. That Seb is going to show how everybody, specifically on PC, also benefits from all this stuff. So it's super great. I'm super excited about that. And the only other thing I wanted to say, I don't know if you guys saw, it's totally geeky, but I wanted to say it. If you watch the Windows 11 announcement, then you see that Microsoft Flight Simulator was actually one of the 2 games that was shown there, and it just says something about how the sim is viewed inside the company. It's now really at the very top of anything Microsoft's doing, which is just awesome. It is because of your support, so thank you for all that. Just wanted to say that, and now go to Seb, talk about perf.
Yes. All right, Seb, I have a couple videos here queued up. I'll go ahead and play them if you want to give us an update on what's coming. I know we've been working hard on the Xbox version, but there's some really great benefits coming to the PC as well.
Yeah, so as Jörg said, we've been working hard, and it's mostly on the engine, right? On the simulation engine. So this is a video. So can you just quickly pause right now so that I can introduce this before it goes further?
No problem.
So basically, we have rewritten a lot of the parts of the engine, of the architecture, or improved in order to get the maximum performance out of the sim and minimum, I would say, resource or memory or bandwidth footprint. So we haven't finished doing all the tests. So in PC it's a very complex world, so I can't say everybody's gonna get this much frame rate or whatever. So today, in order to give an example of how much improvements you can expect, the video just simply shows my dev computer, right? It's my machine. You have the specs on screen, exactly what I'm running. So it's ultra detailed. It's up-res in 4K because my graphic board isn't capable of going full 4K at high frame rates. And I'm doing about the same flight. It's real flying, just conditions. And you will see the difference in frame rate between the first and the second flight, which is really approximately the same place. So voila, it's Manhattan, and you can see it's around 35, 40 frames. It goes down a little bit later because we're coming closer to a heavily loaded area. It goes down to 35 and 32 even. And let's also stop on the system data, which I'm putting up, it's is it really a bit later? I'm 5 seconds delay. Just yeah, when it's very important system information. When is it coming?
There we go.
Voilà. So as you can see, sorry, it's in French, but You can see that the processor is 100% occupied in SimUpdate 4, and the GPU isn't fully working. Sometimes it's even only 50%, 75%. So we did two forms of improvements: a lot of CPU optimization and re-architecturing and moving around things, and some GPU improvements too, right? So you will see on the next video the impact of this, but here clearly, and also look at the memory. It was using 27 gigs on my computer. So 27 gigs for Ultra in Manhattan, 100% CPU occupation, and 75 GPU. And so let's.
And maybe you can talk a bit about also the stuttering that can be seen on the.
Yeah, and you can see on the frame rate, it's there's a lot of red, right? So there's a lot of stutters. Yeah. And so this is SimUpdate 5. So exactly same computer, same day, same configuration. Everything's the same. So frame rate is at the beginning it's a solid 60. It goes down to where it slowed down on the other version to 35. It slows down to 50-ish, something 59, 50, 58. Stutter is almost gone, and you will see also. So you can already see here a little bit the simulation only uses 4.7 gigs. So you will see it on the system. It's a bit more because, well, there's the rest of the system which is running, and I actually have the compiler open, so it's a lot more in the system. So let's pause on the system very quickly. So here you can see the GPU is 100%, and the CPU is 75% only. So it totally moved over the work, and now the CPU is free, so you can even run other stuff in the background, which is not gonna make your sim stutter anymore. And you can see the memory of the system is down to 14 gigs, and the sim is down from 16 gigs something to 4.7. And frame rate, yeah, is 54 here in this case, where it's really hard for the system. You can see that it's so I balanced it between GPU and CPU. It's really the GPU which is more loaded because of the buildings in the background, but completely stutter free. On my computer, it's up by 20 frames, I would say, per second, 20 to 30 frames per second, and yeah, 25% CPU free on the system.
That's awesome. It's really cool to see a side-by-side comparison like this. Do you have anything that you could say about VR frame rates?
So yeah, we are in the process of testing all sorts of configuration, because the impact is going to be not the same depending on what CPU you have, what GPU you have, and definitely there's going to be a positive impact on VR, that's for sure. We just don't know exactly how much yet, but maybe it's the same than what we see here. Maybe it's more. I think it's going to depend on which VR headset, which GPU, and which CPU. Yeah. But it should definitely be better.
Awesome.
I just want to say something. So I've been making games for 30 years. I have never ever seen anything like this. So I think I see the chat. I think you guys realize what this is. It's freaking amazing. So I just wanted to say thank you, Seb and team. Awesome.
Thank you to the team. Yeah.
Yep. And everyone in chat, they are asking, when is SimUpdate 5 coming out?
Haha.
Well, it's with Xbox. It's at the same day as Xbox, July 27th.
There you go, folks. All right, and I have another video here, Seb, to talk about trees.
Oh yeah. So this has been going on for months, and we've continued our investigation. Didn't want to stop and did want to find what was going on with the trees. And we finally found the cause and were able to fix the cause also with the update of the engine updates for the Xbox. So here you can see SimUpdate 4, and actually it was linked to latitude. We found out that there was a heavy link between latitude and the tree problem, and basically going northern Norway, like here, or northern Sweden. I think that's northern Sweden. It was very obvious, right? You can see the tree line stopping short and clipping even. And so this was SimUpdate 4. And so once we found exactly the issue was and why it was caused by latitude, it was a rather quick fix. and it has no, I mean, the issue and the impact and the fix has really no impact on memory. It was just something that was broken with the latitude calculation and the way the system was handling trees. And so after the update, you can see the issue completely gone. So it's gonna be sim update 5. So you should already be seeing it. So as it should be, the distance is what we always plan for, between 14 and 15 kilometers, and it's now working at all latitudes. And so there's no popping, clipping, and you don't see the tree line really anymore. So
Yes.
this is really back to, I think, what it was in December, January, except that the trees are smaller and there's more of them, which is because there's also been the change in tree size. But the tree distance is now really what it was supposed to be, and fixed at all latitudes with the sim update 5 and the Xbox update.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, the community, because it was because of one of the feedback we've collected in the forums that we understood and help us to fix this.
Yeah, that's just testament to,
understand.
you know, what everyone reports in the forums. We really appreciate the feedback that we get there, and it helps us triage issues like this. So we appreciate you, community, for continuing to add feedback to the forums, because we do take it seriously. So thank you. All right. Do you have anything else to add, Seb, or we can move on to the feedback snapshot, if not? All right. I'm bringing up the bug snapshot here for our top bugs, if there's anything you'd like to go over.
Yes, and I think it's all of us basically looking at this. So the Garmin, I think, is already announced, I believe. Matt announced this last time. There's a beta coming. I think they're trying for the end of July. I'm not sure they're on track. It might be a few days later. I'm not sure. But look, it's with working title. It's in really good hands. Mm-hmm. On weather, I think we can talk about it here. We can talk about it a little bit later. Sure. We are doing a ton with weather. As a matter of fact, you'll hear about this in a little bit, and Marcel is going to talk about this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Crashes. We should talk about crashes. So, do you want to talk about this? I mean, obviously, we did a ton of work lately.
Yeah, I mean, we're fixing crashes daily. So there's I mean, it's you know how it works. We have a system which reports all the crashes, so we can measure the crashes. We know exactly the health of the software and how many people are crashing, etc. And some crashes are just rare and to specific configurations. So people are investigating, and they will be fixed one after another. What we see is that most of the time when we have crashes, they're actually new, and the old crashes don't happen anymore. So we're able to fix them, but it's sometimes it's new hardware, new drivers, so updates to the sim. It can be many different causes.
Mm-hmm. And Seb, actually going back to, I saw a couple of performance questions. So will the performance update impact large airports and glass cockpits?
Yes. So you saw the CPU going down in the video. So what happened is that first of all, there was a lot of CPU optimizations. All the glass cockpit computations were moved to a separate thread, so it's not blocking and creating stutters and creating problems on the frame rate anymore. So glass cockpits work a lot better on big planes.
Okay.
And a lot of the work on big airports has also been optimized or threaded, and so it's not causing as much stutter or slowdown, I would say, anymore as it used to.
Awesome. That's fantastic news. Thank you. All right, back to the feedback snapshot.
Yeah, so photogrammetry, I just want to say, because I read the thread again, like I think there's some confusion. Photogrammetry is just like any other large data set, like the DEM data set we have, or the aerials. They were taken at the time they were taken. And frankly, we got most of them from Bing, and some of them were 7 years old, and the resolution wasn't all that great because the cameras used were not that sophisticated yet. But I was just looking at another city this morning that is coming to Sim Update 6, one of the unannounced ones. And it looks great. I mean, like fundamentally, the evolution of photogrammetry will benefit us all. I think when we started, the best we had was 7 centimeters, maybe up to 30. Now we get some 5 centimeter ones. So fundamentally, as we refresh cities, and we're going to refresh cities here at some point, not just add new ones, photogrammetry will get better as well. But so just know that there's no magic fix for photogrammetry. There's just better data, and we are in heavy pursuit of better data.
Awesome.
Night lighting is something that it's probably closer to you know more than I do.
Yeah, no update on this right now. We're still working on it.
Next one's yours too. Turboprop.
So Turboprop, so there was a first update in Summer Update 4. We have done a few small fixes for Summer Update 5, and then more is going to come later. So, I mean, it's linked to, so some there's been a fair amount of updates on flight model also on Summer Update 5. It is the changes of Summer Update 4 that were done on 7 planes have been done on all the others. So it's still it's 23 planes updated. And smaller. I mean, a few small glitches. The altitude and speed issues that were supposed to be in Sim Update 4 are finally in 5. So that's a catch up here. But yeah, Turboprop is some small fixes in Sim Update 5, and then more in the upcoming Sim Update.
Yeah. So Seb, there is a comment that maybe we can go to the thread a little bit. Will the performance fix help with current photogrammetry performance? The answer is
that's why I showed New York, because it's a photogrammetry city, and so it has a big impact there. You may have seen also small numbers on. I mean, it wasn't very big, but the number of vertices is down. Is more efficient. The number of polygons. So the workload. If you have a GPU that is heavily impacted by photogrammetry cities, it should be much better. Especially on the shadows, because we improved and optimized the shadows, because you also need to render the buildings in the shadows, right? And so if you see the face, it's called draw calls and face count. This is way down, and without any change in any detail or anything. It's and so this is I think it should have a heavy impact on photogrammetry cities here. I mean, that's why I showed Manhattan.
Awesome.
All right, then next one, ATC. I think I said that last time. There's a strike team looking into ATC right now, all kinds of aspects of ATC. So we're reporting back. It's currently under investigation, but the team is fully on it. And I see the reports, so they're doing good work. Ground texture low res with incorrect bandwidth. So we are working on ground textures all the time, as you know. The incorrect bandwidth thing, I didn't look into, Seb. I don't know if you did. But fundamentally, I think we're going to see continued improvements on ground textures. I saw somebody was just saying something about Ohio. I am aware, actually. We'll update the US next year. We haven't. So I think I said somewhere that we have 6 world updates next year. There's going to be another update for the US, not only the US, but the US is going to be covered because there's a ton of new data that was published over the last year. So looking forward to that. Yeah. Performance, I think you just heard it. I think the dreadful performance is going to be hopefully a thing of the past, and then we can strike this after the Sim Update 5 is out. Mirror textures, I think it's not planned, but the SDK team is working on painting, basically explaining a little bit more how painting works with liveries going forward. Host language is something we actually actively look into. It's a big deal. We know it. And lack of I don't want to talk about all these things. Marcel, do you want to talk about lack of real-time traffic?
So that's also something we would like to improve. We already have some improvements because we was doing some bad things by sorting the planes we've got on real-time traffic, and we're working on the systems. So that's going to be improved too, to work to. Me to take over the LOD problems, trees and water. For trees, you've seen that the problem has been found thanks to the community. On water, we would like to improve the water during the next year. And not only the rendering of the water, but the behavior of it too. Do you want me to continue?
Yep.
Horizon line visible through mountains and objects. This is more tricky, because this is directly linked to the rendering path line. So we've got to change a lot of things in order to have this fixed.
The line above lot problems of trees may have been what I showed in the tree video. When you see the lots clicking, I mean, there were
but
patches
the
of
horizontal
lots.
line, yeah, but the horizontal line visible through mountains, it's linked to the scattering and all the process, the rounding pipeline. Approach flyback bugs. All the approach is also part of the ATC airports approaches that this strike team is working on. I'm lost. Reflections look grainy, even on ultra. This Seb maybe you can talk about because, well, you know more than I do.
So I think this can answer a question that has come maybe 10 times in the chat. So reflections looking grainy. This is because it's a ray matching algorithm that is doing reflections, and it could improve once we have implemented ray tracing on graphics card. And so this goes back to all the questions about DirectX 12, etc., and where the performance is coming from and all that. And so SimUpdate 5 and Xbox and PC Xbox is on DirectX 12, PC is still on 11, and all the performance improvements come just from improving the sim, right? PC is not moved yet to 12. It's in the process of. The team is still working on it. It may bring improvements further or not. We don't know yet, but they're in the progress of doing that. And once that is done, then we can start implementing advanced effects of DirectX 12.
Including ray tracing.
Including, grainy reflection and other stuff, better water, better shadows.
That's great.
So Jane,
Cool.
you should watch for time here a little bit. Like we can keep going down this, or we can go to Q&A. Either way, because I see a bunch of stuff come by in the chat that I think is just as important.
Some great questions. I'm going to give about 3 more minutes on the snapshot and also the wishes snapshot.
Okay.
So if you want to look at that, we can switch over.
I mean, I would say maybe go over to the wishes. Just know that we update this every week.
Yes.
We pay attention. The stuff that on there is current. Maybe here I want to say helicopters are a must. I'm actively, we just discussed this actually 2 days ago or something. Like we are actively looking for a partner because helicopters are complicated. You know, I would say nobody at Asobo is an expert yet. So we are looking for some help. So if you guys want to suggest, I mean, that's probably an odd question to ask, but I think that, look, there's a community of third-party developers out there that are doing a great job. I've flown the two helicopters that are out. I've flown them both. Obviously, they were done with the restrictions that we currently have. Helicopters are not fully supported, but we are actively looking for a partner team to help us really get this right. So very open to suggestions. If you have some, please send me an email. Jane, we can probably put that email again into the
MSFsim@microsoft.com.
Yep. But we're going to listen, because we don't know this space yet. So we're trying to get more knowledgeable. Motor screens and replay. We've talked about this before. Like they're both planned. Replay is planned. Seb, do you want to talk about replay? You've been excited about this for a while.
We're same state than last time. Basically, we have it working. We have it used internally. The UX is dev, but we're designing and working on something more user facing as a interface basically. But the system is now redone. Yeah, we can.
Go ahead, please.
No, because I see something about the Topi eye tracker. Topi eye tracker is in pipeline. So as soon as the Xbox and the update 5 is done, we should move to some other inputs, and the Topi eye tracker is part of that.
Cool. Okay.
The scenery gateway system. So what's up with it? Good question. So the prototype was completed, and we had initially thought to basically hire somebody external to write this for us. But the more we think about it, the more we think it's related to the SDK too closely, and it really needs to be somebody sitting at Asobo doing the work. So we are currently discussing exactly who's going to do the work, either existing team member or somebody new. But it's on. We actually had a meeting this morning, like 4 or 5 hours ago, the exact topic, because I think it's an important. I mean, it's number 5, right? First off, and it's an important thing to really get going. We looked at the missing airports quite a bit. Patrice and the team running that have been doing a good job. Specifically, there was some important ones missing in Germany, as you might know. That's our next world update. So we are on the topic, and the prototype of the Senior Gateway exists. It's just not ready for prime time, so we just need to go make it real. So it's, but it's, as you can see, we want to get this done this year. So not that much time left. I wanted to say gliders, there's going to be a cool announcement coming up. Not sure exactly when we're going to announce it. Probably needs to be, we need to seal the deal and all that good stuff, but we found a great partner that will help us. So there's more stuff coming on that. I'm just picking AIG. Kai's continually in contact with us and is writing lots of suggestions. So that is an ongoing conversation that I think is also going to lead to good things. And maybe I'll just leave it with that, Jane. We'll go over. I'm more going to get to the actual Q&A.
Thank you. There were some really great updates in there that we very much appreciate. But let's kick it off to the Q&A. I saw some great questions in chat. Let's start off with some Xbox questions we've been seeing. First of all, is there an Xbox beta?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so today is June 30th and we're launching on July 27th. So I think the reality just is we ran out of time. Instead, we have christened this this flighting that we're doing right now, Performance Plus.
Yes.
That is in essence the Xbox build, right? In many ways. So I think quite a few people have signed up. So we are launching this. I want to say, I don't actually know. Tomorrow? When is this?
It should be tomorrow, 8 p.m. PST time.
Yes. So sign up for the community was this morning. We got lots of people going in there and signing up. So tomorrow, I think the flight will launch, and you'll have access to the private section of the forums where we'll get some feedback. But we got a really great group of aircraft experts and a great range of peripheral testers for this round as well to help out. So thank you, everyone.
I've got to check my mails because I'm not doing the publish process. Well, I think it's tomorrow 8 p.m.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah. If not, we'll keep you guys updated. If anything
yeah. I mean, I think just to give a little bit of perspective. So we know there's something called certification on Xbox, which is essentially a team of people that is super knowledgeable at Xbox, super hardcore testers, and they are very critically reviewing builds before they get to the public, because consoles need to be stable, right? That's a general understanding on console games. Mm-hmm. So we've been in cert for a while now. I think we are close to going to the cert again. I want to say maybe even again tomorrow. And we're getting very close. And just the frantic nature of getting every single bug that they find fixed is preventing us from doing a proper beta on Xbox. But that said, you can play the exact content that will be on the Xbox SKU. I don't know. I made a little video. It was part of the E3 thing. I don't know if you guys watched it, where we talked a little bit about the new features that are coming with like Land Anywhere and Discovery Flights and the Flight Assistant and all those cool things. Yes. That's all in that build. So please hammer the build, right? So we're counting on you. Whoever signed up, please spend time in it, because we only have that many machines, but all of us have, 1 or 2 PCs, and that's about it. So if you can, please spend time and give us feedback. If anything is wrong, let us know.
So just check, it's tomorrow, 8 a.m.
Got it. Okay. Good to know. And I'm not sure if the beta
8
is
a.m.
full
which
up
time
yet.
zone?
I put a link in chat.
PST.
Got it.
Microsoft time zone.
Yeah.
It's 5 p.m. for Europe, most of Europe at least.
Wonderful. It's full. Okay. Got it. All right. Next question is, what will be the frame rates in the specs for both the X and the S? This one's to you, Seb.
Yeah. So basically what we have is on the console, you are locked to the monitor, to the TV's frame rate. So if you have a regular TV, it's going to be locked at 30. So we're actually going to be running above, but it's going to be locked at 30. If you have a TV that has a variable refresh rate, we support that, and then it's going to be above. I would say it's very dependent on what you're doing. It's about the same on S and X. I'm very often testing the A320 over Paris, and it's around 35-40, which is really the low end. and when I fly over Bordeaux, whatever I usually do, then it can go as high as 60 or whatever. There's no, it's really dependent. But if you don't have this VR, it's going to be 30 locked basically.
Awesome.
So I see some comments about TVs being at 60 hertz. So I don't know for US, because you've got something like 25 and 50 hertz. In Europe, it's 30 and 60 hertz. So that's why we are using that as a reference.
Okay. Is Xbox 4K native or upscaled?
So so 4K is only for X.
Okay.
If you run on S, it's 1080p, and 4K is then for if you run on X, you get 4K. What I found is that it's rendered in 4K, and for example, I don't have a 4K monitor, and so it's downscaled actually from 4K to I think I have a 1400p or something a monitor, and we can't really change the resolution, so it's hard coded 1080p on S and 4K on X, and in the rendering pipeline. Many of the effects are actually upscaled, so clouds that's on every whatever the setting you choose. Like on PC, it's the same, and so but yeah, the resolution we render at is 4K, and then you go down to whatever using. On the opposite side, on the S, it's 1080p, and then it goes up to whatever TV you have.
Okay. Will there be a physical disc for the Xbox versions?
So I read in the chat that somebody was asking about Premium Deluxe. So we have a physical disc of the standard edition. We honestly did not make one for the Premium Deluxe edition, mostly because we didn't think there was that much interest in it in the physical, because of COVID, the physical industry has been hit pretty hard, I would say. So we've been a little bit cautious. But I would always say, if there's demand, we'll certainly do it. Right? We want to make people happy. But right now, for launch, we'll have the standard edition only.
Okay. Good. Another question from chat is, will we see those new particle effects properly integrated into the default sim?
Oh, yes. Everything you've seen on the trailer on Xbox will be also available on PC. So yes, we've got some new effects, effect systems. Effects have been updated. You've seen some on the Xbox trailer, and it will also come with new effects.
I mean, everything, like, I think you know this, like everything, because we have crossplay and cross-save, pretty much the builds are the same. Like, so whatever you see on one, you're getting the other. There's some nuanced differences in the packages and stuff, but the fundamentally functionality is the same.
Yeah. For us, we don't make any difference. It's just a target on the compilation for both assets and code. The only difference maybe is on the way you're going to do some tweaks, because on PC, everybody has got a PC which is different from the other. So we let everybody do the tweaking. On Xbox, it's much more standard. You can select the optimum settings. But apart from that, the two versions are exactly the same, content-wise and feature-wise, and everything is the same.
Right. Is Xbox Live Gold required for console users to play online multiplayer?
I don't know the answer to this question. I should know. How about this? I'll get back to you, Jane.
Sure, yeah, we'll put a post in the forums. Just for you, CD. Question for you, Jorg. What happened to Microsoft Flight Simulator coming to Xbox One?
Well, so I was always saying, people were saying, oh, it's not coming to Xbox One. I was like, don't say no yet. Like, so, and I don't know if you guys read other announcements and stuff, but the xCloud team has been doing a bunch of work with us. And look, when Seb said that earlier about how many gigabytes we got from like 27 down to 5.6, amazing feat of technology. If you look at Xbox One, there's 2 gig. At some point, you're breaking what you're making. So the actual thing that is the solution is stream down from the cloud via xCloud down to a Gen 8 machine. That's work in progress. We don't have a date yet, but I can tell you that some of the best programmers at Microsoft, like not just Flight Sim or Xbox or something, no, Microsoft are looking at this problem. And I think the company has already said we're going to do it. So it's just a question, and we are. So the question of when, and honestly, the biggest, you guys can relate to this. The biggest issue is we have already over 1,000 gigabyte of third-party content, 1,000 gigabyte. So you need to put that somewhere, and you need to, when somebody comes from the cloud, you need to be able to get to all your content. So that's the current technical challenge. But I mean, the brightest minds are on it. So I'm actually quite confident.
Yeah. Wonderful, thank you. All right, here's a non-Xbox question. Seb, could we ever expect an overhaul on the Crosswind component?
Yes, so this is planned. So it is. I think what the question is trying to say is that the Crosswind, once you're on ground or close to ground, acts weirdly. So this is basically a legacy we've built on from FSX, where on FSX there was almost no crosswind. I think it was cut off below 80 feet per second or something like that. And so we moved that down to like 10 feet per second. And obviously the goal is that wind is just wind, and we don't fake anything. But in order to do that, we need to really redo from scratch the ground collision system. Because, well, when you're not skidding, when there's crosswind, you're supposed to not be moving. And currently that works better, but it's not good enough yet to handle crosswind when you're stopped. And so once we have redone that, it's just going to be realistic. I think you can turn it off if you go in the assistances, because it makes taking off easier. But if you're on full realism, then it's going to be always 100%. But currently it's turned off at 0 speed, and it really kicks in at 10 feet per second or something at speed. And so this is missing. Also, when you rotate, the friction, same issue, right? It's the ground friction of the wheels, which is too binary. It's on or off. And so once it's off, you just immediately kick into the crosswind, where in real world, a spinning wheel has more a soft transition from sticking to the ground to skidding or taking off. And so this is something we need to improve, so that basically when you rotate, you're almost already in the crosswind at that moment, or at least the transition is softer. But that's not the wind issue or weather engine or anything. It's an issue with the wheels and the ground interaction.
Okay, that's a good explanation. Thank you. This is from Marcial and Jorg. Can we get an update on the big weather news that Jorg teased a couple Q&As ago? We're dying to hear what's in store for the future.
Okay, so we are currently working on that. So just saying hi to Romain, that's working hard on this feature. So it's a direct collaboration with our partner Meteo Blue. And so what was the problem initially? The problem is we are delivering a weather system all over the planet, and we've got on the other end the METAR. So we could get some discrepancies between the METAR and the data that was provided by Meteo Blue. So we decided to mix those data. So we started with the wind and some information, and now we go deeper into that process. So Meteo Blue is getting all the METAR and then use that as an input to their model. So the model will now be computed with the METAR. So that's a huge difference for the sim, because we will get very much less discrepancies between the METAR and the data we're getting in the sim. That said, we all know the one that flies, at least. We know that we often have some discrepancies between the METAR and real life, because there's delays. METARs most of the time are done by some automated systems and are not fully reliable, and the weather can change pretty quickly. So we'll still have some, but the goal is to be to take the METAR as an input and to do the process as fast as possible, and then deliver that to the sim. So this is coming soon. It's not done yet. And we're still working on another problem that extends this one, which is visibility and the transform of the weather data we're getting to the rendering pipeline. And visibility is one of the issues because everything is done with a physics-based rendering. So when we're putting some clouds and it's the humidity, it's the aerosol, it's the clouds that drives the visibility. It's not like the fog we were using during the, I don't know, with the first 3D games, you know, the kind of fog that you can set up. Mm-hmm. So we've got to transform all the data we're getting from GeoBlue into a weather system, rendering weather system, and that has to match. And we're still working on that because it's a tricky problem. So we will try to be as close as possible. So basically, when we get a METAR, it will be as close as possible to the reality, and we are working on this process.
Great. Jorg, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, look, I always say the natural environment for planes is the sky. The weather is super duper important, and I would say we are tripling down on the weather. So Media Blue, I don't know if you ever watched that partnership video with Matthias and Carl. Super smart people, and we have identified I want to be transparent, like there's 6 packages we're discussing with them right now. The things that Marcial has just talked about are the first 3 that are going to help with the METAR, and it's the fundamental things that you all have noticed, that it's, you know, the discrepancy is really annoying and creates a bunch of problems. So that'll be fixed, and we think it'll be fixed by the end of the year. And then we have a roadmap post that I think is going to blow people away. I think it's going to blow me away, because I think the resolution we'll get is going to be crazy. Like I really feel like we have the full world with the best weather forecasting system ever. It's like, it's going to be great, but it's going to take us into 22, probably even late 22. So just be patient. Weather's not going to be like a quick thing. The META thing is our focus because it causes problems, but there's a lot more coming.
Right. And can we get a realism update on thermals, up and down drafts? I think this will be both for you, Seb, and Jorg.
Yeah, well, so you've seen the videos on aerodynamics and how we handle the weather. So what you saw in the videos is captured live from the sim. But you will see, the wind really doesn't ever go vertical like that. And so, vertical speed currently in the sim for wind is limited to, I think, something around 500 feet per minute or something. So it can't do like the extreme thermals that you would get. I've read about 20,000 feet per minute in a thunderstorm or stuff like this. So there is a limit, and this is something we'll be working on later. Yeah, and Jorg may add to that. Thermals.
Oh, all I really have to say is it's kind of what we said in the feedback snapshot. We have found a partner. We're going to announce it soon. We're going to announce soon who it is, and I think they have extensive experience with gliders. So I think probably in the next dev update, we'll have them visit, and then you get to meet them. And I'm really excited because that's that kind of expertise you can't get it if you're not a glider flyer. You can't get it. So it's we have the right people involved now.
Agreed. I'm seeing a question. How is the marketplace going to work on the Xbox? Are third parties able to get
totally
stuff on there?
It's the same marketplace, but so we commit that everything we make, meaning what Asobo makes, or we have partners, what we call first party partners, that is going to be on both PC and Xbox. But third parties, there's no need for them if they don't want to be on Xbox for some reason or another. They don't need to come. So they can opt in or out. Now, a lot of them have opted in, so we're currently getting tons of packages sent to us, and we're testing them to make sure everything works on Xbox. So I don't know exactly what the number is, but it's a ton that will be there day one. And I think by and large, I think the people were a little bit like PC developers are oftentimes a little bit hesitant to say, what's this console thing? What do I need to do extra? And I think that fear, as they see what it is, and obviously you have WASM that helps them, I think that's all going to go away. So I'm confident the store will be virtually the same, with some people maybe opting out with their content.
Yeah. Okay.
And one more thing, when you buy from us, it's a cross purchase, right? You don't have to buy it again, right? So you already bought it. You get an entitlement for the things that you already own.
Yeah.
And there's one more thing that I saw in the chat a few times about updates and stuff. they're going to be the same. Like when we make a sim update
Same
on
time,
PC, it's also on Xbox. There's no difference. Same with world updates. All that stuff is, think about it as one product that has two different platform expressions, but it's virtually identical.
Great. So when Xbox comes out, end of July here, what will be the priority for the team after launch?
Well, so there's there's tons of stuff. I mean, obviously, I think the question is, are we going to go back to bug fixing? Like, I think the team has done an outstanding job fixing bugs, moving on to Xbox, and you'll see that in the upcoming sim update. Beyond that, we have some things we work on that haven't been announced. You obviously know we've announced the Maverick thing, super cool, for the end of this year. And there's other things, and there was questions about VR, which we can talk about that in more detail if we want to. We are dead serious about. I am very serious about VR. I always said VR and flight sim are a really great match, and so we're gonna double down on VR again this year. We might have something by the end of the year to announce. Not quite sure. It could move into the spring, but yeah, there's now dedicated programmers moving back to VR, fixing bugs, addressing I mean, there's a feedback snapshot where we have a bunch of TBDs on. Expect that to be updated soon, because it's not like we've ignored it. We were just all super busy with other things, but VR is now also coming into play. So it's a whole breadth of things we're doing.
Fantastic. So a couple bug-related questions here. One's for you, Marcial. In the forums, there's a bug report affecting offline traffic where a random livery choice is selected, and I know you've taken a look at this. So do you have any comments on that one?
Well, yes, I do. So we've seen that, in fact, through the forums, because this offline is, random delivery was not spotted. So yes, we have introduced like 2 or 3 updates ago a new system for the air traffic and the multiplayer. So this system is now looking for the best matching between the ideal and what is available on the machine. And this new system, let's call it NPC planes, is also taking in account the resources you have now. So that's why you've got on PC a new setup that allows you to set up the variety of the air traffic, and it will also work on Xbox. So on Xbox, we are super proud to say that on Series X, for instance, we will be able to display 13 different planes. I mean, planes and liveries, and so we've got these systems that does the allocation depending on the resources you have, and that on PC. So it's a bit different between the memory allocation is done differently. You can use more than the physical memory you've got, and that would be up to you guys to see what kind of performances you want to get, and then you can tweak the priority and do a balance between variety and performances. And you can go, even on PC, go to unlimited variety. And if you've got enough RAM or very speed PC and hard drive, then it will work.
Thank you. A question I'm seeing is, will we be able to pre-download the entire update for the Xbox launch?
No. So what we have is what we call a stub file. So you can basically download this, which is basically triggering. There's something called intelligent install. It's kind of complicated, but anyway, so a lot of people have already downloaded the stub file, which basically puts you into a queue to download by the time the build becomes available. The reason why we can't download earlier is because we're already out on the PC, and the way our system works is, if we were to put it out earlier, it would be everywhere, and we would basically launch just earlier. So we can't do it. So everybody will get it at the same time on the 27th.
Yeah. Cool. Is controller functionality overhauled for console?
Ooh. Yes. Seb?
So yes.
About this? Seb was.
Seb, hello?
Oui.
Hello, Bordeaux?
Yes.
Controller functionality.
I mean, overhauled. I mean, I think the settings are the same. We added a few sensitivity settings back a few months, like 6 months ago, which were actually at that time already planned for the controller, which allows you to give you more precision. We have added an option to the assistance, which basically softens the input power and curve, because, well, this is so light that when you control an airplane with this, it just you tend to oversteer all the time. And so there's a new option in the assistance menu. I think it's on Xbox only, but it's basically an easy way to adjust the curves. Really, it's nothing that you can't have on PC, but it's just an easier way to get it. Then there's a way to interact with the cockpit, which is all new. But on Xbox you can have the mouse and the keyboard as well. So it's just more new. It's more modes, right, that are available.
Yeah.
So just a word about maybe because people were wondering in the chat if the keyboard and mouse was supported on the Xbox. It is. They are. As all the OTAs that were available on Xbox One, these are working. So you can basically have a pretty close experience to what you get on PC with the mouse and the keyboard and HOTAS.
Yeah, so the Thrustmasters, flight stick, and the Hori HOTAS are supported. And then obviously, so I don't know if you saw it's a super cool announcement. There's one more controller coming. And then I think somebody talked about Honeycomb. I think Honeycomb is working on something. I'm not sure they've announced it, quite frankly. I'm not sure. I should probably be careful. But I know they're working on cool stuff coming. I think it's going to be a little after launch. I think it's, the world is supply constrained still. If you look what happened with COVID and all the container ships stuck in China, that is actually the problem that's hitting people. But I know that they're making good progress.
When can we get more information and questions answered about the Top Gun expansion?
Well, so it's associated with the movie, and we have a great relationship, honestly, with the folks at Paramount and the movie folks. Some really cool calls with Bruckheimer and Kaczynski, and it was super cool. But I can't spoil anything. They would murder me. So
then it's a danger zone.
It is a danger zone. I won't say anything until I'm allowed to.
Yes. Okay, that sounds good. All right, question that I am seeing a lot in chat. So, do you think we'll ever implement or support AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution?
So there's basically these are all I would say upsampling techniques, right? It allows to render the sim at a lower resolution, and in order to release load on the GPU and get a higher, like 4K or whatever, anything else. We already have an upsample technique in the sim. So if you choose the render scale, it's basically what it does, right? It renders as a lower resolution and then scales it up. And if you use TLAA, which is recommended, it actually upsamples smartly, combining a history of, I think it's 8 or maybe 16 frames with a speed buffer and a depth buffer and all sorts of complicated computations to get you through like one, or I mean more pixels than one per final pixel. So it's a very smart upscale, and so there's other techniques like the NVIDIA or the AMD ones. We're currently looking at these. We haven't found a significant, huge improvement visually compared to TLAA, but we are continuing to look at it. And at some point, whenever we're able to get something which is significantly better or faster, I think we'll add these. But currently, we're still working on it. It's I would say the time we spend on this and the performance or visual benefit compared to the other stuff we were doing, and I think you've seen the results. I think it wasn't worth it right now, and it may be worth it like in a few months. So we're still looking at it.
Okay. And one last question before we close out. Is there ever going to be free content on the Xbox?
Yeah. I mean, free content like the A320 Neo from Fly-by-Wire, the NX.
Mm-hmm.
I think I consider that free content. That's gonna be on Xbox, which was one of the great accomplishments of collaboration with the Fly-by-Wire team. So I'm super happy about that. The plan is obviously great.
Yeah.
Other things, I mean, the marketplace is going to be the same. Like, so as far as what we put on there first, when it sits on our servers, it'll be the same. So you'll there's no plan not to do free content. We just don't have that much free content yet, right? So this is something we actually have to look into a little bit more. Like we talk about deliveries a lot. There's obviously cool airports that people make that are freeware. So this is something, if you're a third party, you know this. We had to scale up our team a lot to support all the content. You know, just the other day, I think we reached 1,100 pieces of content already, which is
Nice.
I mean, it literally boggles your mind how much has been done in the last 9 months. We didn't really expect that. So the team is now, I think there's now 4 or 5 dedicated people just doing that. If we were to add freeware, then we just get into the traffic jam again. So we're going to look at this more. I mean, it's great to see all the content coming in, and we'll make sure that it happens the right way. So just give us a little bit of time.
Thank you, Jorg. All right, that
And
is the end. Oh,
if we are talking, sorry, if we're talking about free content,
yes.
the world updates are free and they're coming to Xbox too.
Yeah, totally.
Oh.
World updates, sim updates, obviously all that stuff. I saw a question a few times. I wouldn't answer it just because I'm currently working on it. So somebody was asking, what is the DEM and aerials for the World Update 6? Just to say that. So Switzerland made all their data available. It's quite good. Which was a great move by the Swiss government. Thank you very much. And then on Austria, we have almost all the states secured with brand new DEM and aerials, except Niederösterreich and Vorarlberg. And I'm actually supposed to be on a phone call with them here tomorrow. It's just licensing stuff. Sometimes it looks a little bit easier from the outside than it is, because we need to make sure that we can share it on Bing and everywhere, right? Because it's a paid product, it's a little bit different. But we're talking to literally every single government, geographical institute. That all said, if you have some specific thing, somebody contacted me from Iceland. Super nice. I don't want to name the name, but super nice person, knows a ton about it. And we are actually now directly connecting him to Bing, because what he has is better than what we have, and he worked on it on his own time. So that's awesome. If you have more of that, please call me. But yeah, I mean, we're very dedicated to making the world as good as we can possibly make it.
Yep, agreed. All right, that's the end, everyone. Chat, thank you so much for all the questions you've had. Hopefully we answered a ton of them, and of course, stay tuned for July 27th when we have both the Xbox and the PC update come out. We will be back probably a week after that. We can talk about how it went, basically, and probably the upcoming updates. Does anyone have any last minute thing they want to say before we close out here?
For those of you who are on the Performance Plus, hammer it, please. We still have time, but if you find some bugs, we can still do stuff, but just please spend the next few days on this. I think July 27th is going to be amazing for everybody, not just Xbox. I think PC, hopefully you saw what's coming your way is going to be a substantial improvement to the experience all up, which makes me obviously happy.
Right.
And then Jane, you and I haven't talked about it. Our 1-year anniversary is coming up. I actually would like to do something, so maybe we can do a special stream or something. So
absolutely. Yes, we will. All right, everyone, we'll see you next week on this channel. Hopefully you have a great weekend, and we'll catch you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.